Classic Restos Trucks Edition Series 2, proudly brought to you by Gleeman Truck Parts, Premier One Products, and Shannons Insurance, where you can become a member of the Shannons Club. Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Series 2 Classic Restos Trucks Edition. Of course, not possible without the continued support of my fantastic major sponsors. When it comes time for parts and accessories for your truck, cleaning products for your truck, insurance for your truck, and at breakfast time, serving that enjoyable egg, go to the best website in the world to find some of the nicest people to do business with at classicrestos.com.au. See their logos on the homepage, click on those to be directed to their websites for more information as to how they can help you. And on today's show, I have travelled back to Gleeman's here in Chipping Norton, New South Wales, Australia, to host 3 fantastic trucks. Well, I love walking around in my office, so now it's time to speak to some guys that love driving around in theirs. Well, here we go. First truck off the rank. Got a bloke named Ken. Early start. I've torn him away from breakfast. He was having his egg.
Yeah, no, naturally, you've got to have eggs for breakfast. I noticed that Pace Farm's one of your sponsors as well, and Shannons.
They certainly are. Yes, absolutely. And without them, there'd be no truck show. Support them where you can. Find out their details at classicrestos.com.au. Good on you, Ken, for turning up here this morning, mate. Look, it's not a big truck, but she's an old truck, and obviously it's got great history.
It's got a lot of history. As from what I can, Graham built it, and she comes from the Coonabarabran area. A basket face out of a paddock. He's done it up from scratch. Converted it all, still a 54 chassis. So she's trying to keep it, still got the original gauge, original key, all back in 54. So he's done a good job. Got a little Cummins 4-cylinder diesel in it. Yeah. She doesn't snap your neck off, but we keep up with everyone. No one abuses us for holding them up. We do tow a little caravan with her, like an old 54 Bombwood caravan that we've done up.
Ken, I think that's the nicest thing about these classic type shows, whether it's bikes, cars, trucks, is the tradition where they go back, I mean, with grandfathers and people that were young guys and they used to drive these things.
No, it's really good. We get stopped everywhere. The worst part about it, Fletch, is you drive down the road and someone you mind your own business, someone will come up on the right-hand side of you, they'll pull in front and put their foot in the brake, and you think, why are they doing that? And when you finally go, you go round them, they've got a camera taking photos, and you think, why didn't you just ask me to stop?
It's amazing, isn't it? Back in the day, I mean, they were never a fast truck, but when you did get them going, well, then you couldn't pull them up anyway.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, this one's a bit different. It's got the disc brake front end, but...
I've noticed that. Tell us about the front end. What have you done to the truck here?
Well, it's had a 1973 Chev Caprice front end grafted into it with the big disc brakes. Yep.
So American Chevy Caprice?
Yeah, the American. It looks like a HQ, but heavier, like the El Camino.
Absolutely, they were huge on cop cars, taxi cabs. The Chevy Caprice. They used to run 350s in them over there. They were like Volkswagens in Germany, weren't they?
It's really good. It stops great. People ask me what it drives like. Drives like a Chev Caprice. It drives like a car on the front. Back's a bit heavy with the springs, but we're really happy with it. We've had it now a couple of 2.5 years.
I think you did a good job of saving it. I mean, getting it in the first place. But I mean, you found it out west. How far out west was it?
Coonabarabran.
Now, Coonabarabran, for people watching Classic Restos in other parts of the world, where we've even got noisy Cessnas here down under. But Coonabarabran's way out west. It's out in the boondocks, and to be preserved, at least out there, little rust, which is good.
Yeah, it was just basically surface rust. Body-wise, good strong body, but surface rust all over it, but soda blast, cleaned up.
What I love about this little truck is it's got the big truck features. The first thing that stands out is the checker plate, all the alloy down the side, the step under the door, the fuel tank. We've also got the legendary rope tarp. I mean, now that's a bit of a talent these days to see a tarp on the back of a truck with a rope through it.
Oh, it's good. People ask me why I put a tarp on, and I say because it's a truck. Yeah. I had a set of gates made. Yeah. We've got a toolbox behind the wall. We've got a little small fridge, so we can go put our drinks in, put our bacon and eggs for brekkie, and we're gone. Just if need be, we could sleep in the back, but the wife's not really into roughing it too much.
Well, Ken, I reckon what we should do, this is the point of the show, I think, where we should turn the key, hear the little girl start, and we should take it for a run around the block. What do you reckon?
Yeah, come on, Fletch, let's do that.
Well, there you go. Just goes to show that the trucks don't have to be big to have a lot of fun. What do you say, Ken?
Exactly right. We enjoy it. We go everywhere in it, and we love it.
No, it means a lot to you, doesn't it?
It does. It's good to have something that's been brought back to life, and maintaining it, and get so much satisfaction, and people comment on how it looks. They all love the step tanks. They love the stacks, and they think it's nice. We've got this, the motorhome, a 57 Chev panel truck, all insured with Shannons. Never a problem. And the wife found out the other day that maybe ask them about the house as well. But they're great.
Absolutely awesome. They are very good to deal with, and also the importance of insurance is way up there. And of course, major sponsors of Series 2 of Classic Restos trucks. Go to classicrestos.com.au, click on their logo for more information. Ken, thanks once again for coming on, mate, and being a star on today's show.
No, thanks very much, and I'm glad it was here, because now I can go and buy a couple of filters.
I hope you're really enjoying today's show. Don't forget, when it comes time for parts and accessories for your truck, cleaning products for your truck, insurance for your truck, and serving the enjoyable egg, support the major sponsors. You can find them at classicrestos.com.au. Now stay in your favourite chair, because after the break I'll be back with this absolutely sensational white 9000. Welcome back. Now, speaking of welcome back, due to popular demand, this guy here, big requests for the white. How are you, Tony?
Yeah, good, Fletch. Yeah, going real good.
Good, mate. Good. Look, you've been on the show before, but this is, talk about a big boy's toy, and the noise. This would have to go down as probably one of the most sensational sounding trucks. It's like a Ducati without any mufflers on it.
That's the one, mate. It's good for the kids. It's good for the grown-ups. Everybody loves the noise.
Okay, let's reiterate again. It's a 1974 white. Tell us about the engine.
It's a white 671 GM, 15-speed road Ranger and 44 Rockwells. It's we've had it for 14 years. We had it a yard truck for 13 years, and 12 months ago we decided on rebuilding it and putting it back out as a toy.
And what's it like to drive, Tony?
Beautiful, beautiful. I've got Kenworths, I've got Western Stars, but this is better than driving all of them.
Really?
That's what you like driving.
So what do you put it down to with the white? What makes it a good truck to drive?
Oh, they're just a strong truck, mate. They've been around. You don't get trucks 37 years later still around like this, do you? 37 years later, they're in Simsies, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony, tell us about the history of this old girl. Now, 1974, it's been on the planet for a while. Where did it kick off? Where did it work the hardest?
Originally it started off as a Pitman tanker for 2 years. Then another fella bought it after 2 years. He had it for the rest of its life, up to about 14 years ago, and he traded it at Volvo's. A mate of mine bought it from Volvo's, never worked it at all, left it in my yard, and I seen it in my yard because he used to leave it there and pick stuff up, comes from the bush. And I said, what are you doing with the old white? And he goes, what are you doing with that old trailer over the road you got, Tony? I said, well, I'll swap you the trailer for the truck, and that's how we ended up with it. We done a clean swap.
Yeah. So, okay, so from 1974, how many years did it work really hard, I guess, before the restoration took place?
Oh, it worked right up. We used to use it every day of the week up to the last year. Wow. Every day. Every day we used to start around the yard moving trailers in and out. There weren't one day it was never getting used.
Now, the restoration business, Tony, although seeing it here in all its glory is just amazing, the actual restoration itself, without sounding a stupid question, big job?
It took us 5 weeks to do.
5 weeks?
It was a bit of an issue. We were going a Dubbo truck.
Hang on a second, mate, hang on. Restoring cars can take 2 and 3 years. You guys must have been working around the clock with this.
We worked every night, every afternoon till about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning for 5 weeks, and every Saturday, Sunday. We just did not stop for 5 weeks. We done it as a bit of a bet. There was a bit of a story attached to it. We were in Melbourne at a truck show, and the bloke said, and he goes, I was looking at his truck, and he goes, you want to know anything about these trucks? I said, no, I've got one in the backyard. He goes, oh, everybody says that. So my mate said to me, he goes, listen, that bloke didn't believe you, did he, Tony? I says, nah. He goes, let's do it. He's going to be at the Dubbo truck show, and we'll just take it there. And so that's what we done. Wow. So we done it and away we went.
It's absolutely beautiful. I love these old trucks. Same as the cars, built back in an era where manufacturers, they had budgets. They put pride into their products. You see a bit of chrome. There's nice scroll paintwork. It's got a nice bold front. I mean, these were trucks, weren't they?
A lot of work into all the shape and size there. It's an old GT Falcon colour too, XT, diamond white. Oh, yeah. So I kept the old style paint, you know, so.
It's one good thing about trucks, they've kept their tradition. I mean, even when you see late model trucks today out on the highway, you know, they're 600 horsepower, I mean, they move, they really motor. They still look like trucks. That's a real good thing. They haven't dropped off. I mean, trucks have always kept that stance. They've always kept that road presence. You know, you look at a Kenworth in the 80s and into the 90s, they're still a good-looking truck.
They are. You can't beat them. Like, especially the American trucks, Kenworths, Max, Western Stars, they're all still good-looking truck.
Yeah. Even when we look at the interior here, Tony, have a look inside. It's got balls. It doesn't matter where you look, it's a truck, isn't it?
Yep. Well, they built the last then. Now the more modern trucks, see, all the upholstery's a bit lighter, but this is still original upholstery in this from new. It's all the trim's the same. Everything's exactly the same. All we've done is the centre of the seats. That's all we've done to it. But it's still original.
Absolutely awesome. I love that 671. I mean, the torque it's got. I mean, geez, you know, it'd pull a sailor off your sister, wouldn't it?
Oh, it's quick. It's very fast. We geared it up so we could travel. It does about 135 k's an hour. We've geared it up so you could travel on 100 k's. That real comfortable. So yeah, it's really good.
Well, the main emphasis and the reason we've got this guy back on the show is because of the sound of this legendary 671 GM. So I reckon, well, it's got to go without saying, Tony. We've got to kick the big girl in the guts, and I think we should go for a spin. What do you say?
Yeah, mate. Love to, mate. Love to, Fresh. Anytime you're ready.
Okay. Hang on to your hats. Check this. What a bloody experience was that?
Fletch was I've had a great morning. And you taught me how to drive too.
Oh, I'll tell you one thing. I know you've definitely got no rust on first, second and third cogs, I know that.
No, I think we've got no rust right over the old truck. You scared the shit out of it. But you done well.
Yeah, did I really?
Yeah, mate, yeah, you done well. Another couple of years experience, mate, you'll be right.
Mate, that's only the second truck I've ever driven was Bernie Leeson's W900 Kenworth and yours. That's it.
Oh, is that right, eh? I think you done well, yeah.
Bernie's still getting over it.
Oh, is he? I'm right. I'm over it already. I'm right. You can go again if you like.
Good on you, mate. I want to thank you for your time off work and coming on down, being part of Series 2 Classic Restos trucks. I know you love it, love the truck, and you guys, what you stand for and your fraternity, it's just good all round. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Flesh. Thanks for all your time and your interviews and a whole lot. Thank you.
No worries, buddy. Now, stick around because after the break, we're going to be back with a bloke by the name of Michael, and he's got a sensational 1976 Atkinson. Welcome back. Just can't get enough of these big trucks. Michael from Kennedy Express, how are you?
Good, Fletch, yourself?
Good, thank you, mate. Thank you for the time out coming here today.
Long time no see, but it's good to see you again. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I've seen you around at the shows and things, so that's good.
Good on you. Well, representing the fantastic work that you guys do.
Yes, yeah, we're starting to. The old truck movement is gaining each year in leaps and bounds, and the quality of the restorations are approaching car stuff now. So this is a movement that's on the way up. Yeah. So, and I'm glad to be part of it.
Yeah, and me too. Now, on today's show, we've had the 671. We had Tony here. Just before we go on, what did you think of Tony's truck?
That's a lovely truck. He's really, the boys out at Raytons, they've done a lot of work on that truck, and it's sort of like a hot rod truck, for want of a better word, and it's done a lot of work in its life, and it's sort of retired to greener pastures now. Yep. And yeah, it's really a lovely piece of gear.
Interesting point you raised before we started filming. The 671, and we've got the 92 series Detroit diesel heat. Just explain the numbers for us.
Yeah, it's fairly simple. Tony's truck has got a 671, which means it's an inline 6. If it was a V motor, it'd be a V671 or a 6V71. Each of the cylinders are 71 cubic inches in capacity in that one. This one here is an 8V92T, which is 92 cubic inches per cylinder in a V8 configuration, and the T, of course, is for the turbo. And then you've got the 53 series, which are the small fellas, and these things go right up to the 149 series, which are in the locomotives.
Goodness me, isn't it a different world? How many horsepower are we looking at with your truck, Michael?
430, which was up there in 1977.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, 430 horsepower with all that torque as well. That's why they can move mountains.
Well, it was a product of the gearing in those days. The computer-controlled trucks now eat these things on torque, but that's a product of the computer. Yeah. But in the old days, it was a gearing issue, and just basically rev the bejesus out of them and keep grabbing gears. Yeah.
Isn't it unbelievable? Now, tell us about the history of this particular truck here, Michael. I mean, it's nice to see it's in retirement, but no doubt it hasn't always looked this good.
I was very lucky to find this one. It come from Yass. There was a fellow down there who bless his soul, is deceased now. Him and his best friend, they went to Hastings Deerings down there at Lidcombe. They bought the guy I got the truck bought this Atkinson. The other one bought a 3070 Eagle. The Atkinson, it's only done 203,000 Ks, and we're the second owner. All it did was pull a little drop deck around, a low loader around the Yass area with a drot on it, digging dams. And the condition, it's just as though you've walked into Hastings Deering to buy one now. Wow. It's immaculate inside.
What a score. I mean, it's the same with cars that have been restored too. If you can get them with already a sensational body, the restoration process, if you decide to go that way, is just made so much easier.
Well, all we've done, we haven't even sandblasted it. All we did was paint the chassis and the cab. The interior is untouched, and mechanically it's untouched. So
it's good to see too that the chassis, they always look good with the covered checker plate, but you've left it open. We can get a good shot of the drive line there. It's awesome. Yep.
Well, from a maintenance point of view, and that's what it was all about in those days, because they were far more hands-on than what they are now. The checker plate was just a pain. So all you had to worry about was falling down the hole when you're on the rail doing something.
The restoration process here, Michael, did it take you long in the build?
It's a question of the money, Fletch. Like we've got trucks, and like as I said, this is like someone doing up an EH Holden or something. You just do it as you go along, and this has taken me about 4 years to do this. It's not finished yet.
What was the affiliation with Atkinson and International?
Atkinson was a POMI or an English organisation tied up with Seddon, and they were always low volume imports, and then they started making them here. I don't know whether it was under licence with International or whether International bought them out to start with, but International had them probably from the mid-70s on, I think.
How does it drive on the road? Nice?
It's nice, yeah. It's rated at 65 tonne, this one, so driving around bobtail it sort of bounces around a little bit, but it's still got, if there's any old Atkinson drivers out there, they'll know what I'm talking about. The gear stick still feels like a Volkswagen with that rubbery feel, and it's like it's brand new. I'm telling you, it's a walk back to when I was a kid.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I used to drive these when they were new, but I was only about 24 or something then.
When I was having trouble finding first gear in Tony's truck on the roundabout, he made me feel really good by saying, yeah, I taught my daughter to drive on this truck. She was 10.
Yeah, well, it's what you know, it's what you come up with, and again, they're a mechanical device. So if the revs are matched and you know what you're doing and you know how the main part is, you've got to understand that the gearbox has got a front half and a back half. Yep. The front half is controlled by the revs of the motor. Yes. The back half is controlled by your road speed. Yep. And in the middle is whatever gear you're trying to match the two with. And that's once you understand what's happening, that's it. They're easy to drive.
Changing gears without a clutch too. It's like you say, it's just all in your placement. You can't try and force the gates because it just won't go in.
No, they'll crunch, but that's a two-stage learning thing. The first learning process with that is, and to do with these GMs love a fast change because the revs fall off so fast. If I'm using the clutch for whatever reason, I'll just put the clutch in to break the torque and into neutral, and instead of double shuffling, as I'm letting the clutch out, I pull it straight into the next gear. So I'll show you that.
All right.
It's
well,
easy to do.
Let's go do that. It's that time of the show, and we all wait for that. We're going to see Michael here. We're going to see the big fella turn the key, and we'll go for a run around the block. What do you reckon?
Let's hope my mouth isn't bigger than my ability.
Oh no, I think you've got enough runs on the board, Michael. All right. Okay, check this out.
That's without touching the brake. Very good. Pretty good for your first go, Fletch, I'm telling you. Oh, God! Now we put the jake on. Take your foot off.
That's amazing. What a day I've had. How good are these guys to let me drive their trucks? Michael, I just can't put words to that.
Some of the people that have been in my trucks, you're better than them, Fletch, so don't be disheartened, mate.
There's a lot of editing to do.
Yeah, no, it's fine. You've got the basics, the rest is practice from here.
Yeah.
So.
It's certainly a work of art to drive, they really are.
Yep, yeah, well, in the old day, you pretty well had one hand on the steering wheel and the other hand on the gear stick because the motors just weren't powerful enough to maintain the hills. You were changing gears all night.
Well, Michael, on that note, just want to thank you so much for coming along today for Kennedy Express. Michael, you do a great job, and thanks for bringing the Atkinson, mate. It's
Thank you.
What a legendary classic.
And thanks for bringing me over to Gleeman's too, because I've just spotted the bloody seats I'm going to buy and put in my ultraliner. They've got some lovely leather seats there, mate. They're going in.
Well, that's excellent. Right. Major sponsors of the show. Find out more information at classicrestos.com.au. Thanks very much.
I'll catch up with you. Bye now.
Well, I hope you've really enjoyed today's episode in Series 2 of Classic Restos Trucks Edition. And remember that classicrestos.com.au is the website that you need for the Classic Restos DVD sets and other Classic Restos merchandise as well. And while you're there, check out the major sponsors as to how they can help you. As I say at the end of every show, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, until next week, please ride and drive drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au.